Hello Scentatics, welcome to Fragrance Therapy. I'm your host Alim. So the truth is that I typically only talk about fragrances that I like. But there are times that I feel like I need to speak up when I don't agree with some of the hype that I hear online. If you only relied on influencers and what you heard online, you would believe that almost every new release is a 10 out of 10. But the truth is that's just not the case. I have 5 new releases that got extremely hyped online. In my opinion, at best, they were disappointing, and at worst, they're outright bad. With all that out of the way, let's jump in. So the first two on the list are not outright terrible, they're more disappointing than anything else. So the first one on the list is Maison Asrar's Vanilla Aura, and this was the talk of the town at Beauty World Dubai this year, and apparently this is a clone of a very expensive Guerlain fragrance called Vanille Planifolio. Now, 50 ml of that fragrance I believe goes for like $650 or something crazy. I've never smelt it, but with that price you would expect something really special. And if you were to listen to a lot of the folks online, this allegedly gets extremely close for a fraction of the price. However, to me, this thing just comes off as a very basic sweet vanilla scent. Again, not bad, just nothing special. And honestly, if you were to just mix this up with a bunch of other vanilla fragrances, I would have a hard time picking it out. To me, this is just an airy gourmand vanilla scent. It opens with soft citruses with bergamot and lemon, but they're really light and fleeting, no real kick with the citruses. It quickly transitions to the heart of caramel, vanilla, and chocolate. That's where this fragrance lives. The sweet gourmands are really nice, but they will remind you of many other vanilla gourmands out there. Even more creamy sweetness as this dries down with amber, sandalwood, tonka, and even more vanilla. Average performance, I got 6 to maybe 7 hours on skin, and moderate projection with this one. Performance is not a big issue with this one. I think it's completely acceptable for this kind of fragrance. Again, what I keep coming back to is it's nice, it's just nothing special, and the way it was being glazed, I thought it was going to be something special, so maybe it was just expectations for me. Just temper your expectations. Don't go expecting something that will redefine vanilla fragrances because it's a clone of a $650 fragrance. If you do that, you might not be as disappointed with this one as me, but just keep that in mind. I might get a lot of flack for the next one. This one is also firmly in the category of not a bad fragrance, just a disappointing one for me. And that is French Avenue's Amber Empire. And this thing was like a perfect storm for disappointment for me. First of all, it's one of my favorite niche fragrances, Clive Christian's Blonde Amber. My favorite Middle Eastern clone house, French Avenue. And combine that with the ungodly hype this was getting online, and it was bound to be a letdown. And when I got this one, I already had Art of Arabia 3 by Lattafa, and I really liked it. But I was thinking, in the time since that one's come out, French Avenue must have gotten closer to the OG, and I'm hearing it's about 30% oil concentration, so it has to have amazing performance. And I was wrong on both fronts. They decided to actually go more mass appealing with this scent profile, making it even less like the original. And despite that high concentration, I'm only getting like 6, max 7 hours on this with moderate projection. Maybe it needs to mature even more, though I've had it for some time now. Look, it still smells good. They just took the OG sugary sweetness, they removed the tobacco, removed some of those dried fruits. Has this light boozy note and less spices than OG and the Lattafa. And if you don't have any other Blonde Amber clones and you're looking for maybe a more mass appealing take on the DNA, this is not a bad choice. It's just for me, I'll just stick with the Art of Arabia 3. So the next one I'm more on the fence with. Am I just disappointed or do I truly dislike it? I haven't quite decided yet. And that's Riiffs Season Drift. Now, what are you going to hear about this online? I heard that this is an amazing, super close clone of Bleu de Chanel exclusive. Yeah, not so much. Now, I don't really blame the folks that were smelling this in the moment. They were not able to compare the two side by side. And there are definitely some similarities, but when you test them side by side, this gets 70 to max 75% close. They are both masculine, sophisticated, and a slightly blue fresh fragrance. But at the end, they are a denser, woodier take on Bleu de Chanel. It does have this bright, spicy, and citric opening with this warm and resinous and yet smooth, woody base. There are 2 big issues that I have with this one. One is I don't think that the OG Bleu de Chanel exclusive is that great, especially when you consider the price. And the second is when you're comparing the two, every note in this one feels muted and noticeably in lower quality. I don't know, the freshness just doesn't pop as much on top, and the woods and ambers don't feel as deep and powerful. Now I get it, this one only goes for 40 and the other goes for 400, but the difference is definitely noticeable and it's not for the better. And the performance also doesn't hold a candle to the OG. You're only gonna get about 6 hours on skin with this one, moderate projection. Look, even when you check on Fragrantica, this one actually has pretty high rating. So maybe it's just a me thing, who knows? But for me, things just don't quite add up with this one. Okay, so the last one on this list, I do actually outright dislike. The first is Rasasi's Has Viper. And this is supposed to be a clone of Nasimoto's Black Afgano. Where do I start with this one? Okay, let's start with what I appreciate about this one. I appreciate that Rasasi took a chance. They didn't dupe a fragrance that has been duped a million times. They swung for the fences here. The scent is definitely complex and it's completely different from anything else that I've made or I own. And there is some artistry here, no doubt, and the bottle is kind of cool. Now for the not so good. This thing is super harsh, especially in the opening. When you first spray this, all you smell is like ash from burnt wood and cannabis. Apparently this also has saffron and some green notes up top. I don't smell any of that. All I smell is burnt ash and cannabis. And it's not like I'm totally anti the cannabis accord. I actually quite like Mansara's Hindu Kush. But man, the opening in this smells like it could burn your nose hairs. It definitely does tone down as it dries, but not that much. You get tobacco and coffee, okay, but you also get raspberry and cinnamon and violet. It's all kind of really strange. Look, does it smell interesting? Yes, but it's only something I could spray on strip and admire how bizarre and complex it is. I can never see myself wearing this. And another thing, you can usually count on Rasasi when it comes to performance. And with this scent profile, you would think that was going to be like a 9 to 10 hour monster, but weirdly it's not. Right now, 6.5, 7 hours max. Projection is strong for the first hour or so, but I'm not sure if you really want that harsh opening to project as much. Again, it's all so kind of weird. I don't know why Rasasi decided to clone this fragrance, especially in the Hawas line. And the only reason the next one is worse to me is because the amount of hype that one's getting. This one is not getting nearly as much hype online. Again, I'm glad that they tried something different and swung for the fences, but it just was a miss for me. Now, my least favorite new release, especially from the ones that were coming out of the Dubai convention, is Riiffs Freeze. And again, I appreciate that Riiffs tried something different here. Because as far as I know, this is an original creation. Now, I have heard that some people say that it smells similar to Raja Parfum's Oceania. I can't tell you if that's the case. Let me know in the comments if you know. Also, don't take this as me disliking Riiffs as a brand. Though this is the second Riiffs on the list, there are plenty of excellent releases that they've had even this year. But this was getting glazed through the entire Beauty World event by every fragrance influencer that I follow. And I respect a lot of their opinions, but I have no idea what they were talking about with this one. And again, couple of positives. The name and the presentation are spot on. It does look like a cool, if not kind of cheesy bottle. And the fragrance does give you that like cool icy feel. But that's it. Those are all the positives that I have about this fragrance. Because the iciness that I get from this fragrance, it smells like Icy Hot or Bengay, like some type of pain relief cream. Man, the opening is just rough. And it's all kind of weird because on paper, you would think I would like this because I like the notes. You get citrus, ginger. I always say that's a cheat code for fresh fragrances. You also get mint. I also love tea notes, aromatic notes like sage. But for some reason, the way they're combining this fragrance, it just comes off medicinal to me. And I was hoping that this gets much better in the dry down. That's what people were talking about. But for me, even the dry down, though it's a little bit better, it's nothing great. Also, longevity was pretty horrible on this one. I only got 5 hours. Projection was strong initially, but then it quickly moves to moderate. And on top of that, the biggest issue I had with this one was the amount of hype this was getting online. I know that there are a ton of people that probably bought this based on the hype. I just wanted to be the voice of reason here. Don't always believe what you see online. I know it's hard with these fragrances because you have to blind buy many of them before you can experience them. And also, if you bought this and you like it, more power to you. These are just my thoughts, and I like Riiffs fragrances. I just really dislike this one. So there you have it, folks. Unfortunately, 5 new fragrances that in my opinion live somewhere between disappointing and outright bad. And honestly, I don't really like making these type of videos. I know a lot of people put a lot of effort into these fragrances. It's just that I do want my content to be a service to y'all. And I hope when I can steer you clear of wasting your money. And let me know in the comments if there's ever been a really hyped fragrances that you picked up and you were also really disappointed by. Also, please hit that like and subscribe button so I can keep growing the channel. Doesn't cost you a thing, but really does help the channel out a lot. And as always, stay tuned for more affordable fragrance content. Until next time, I'm out.